Hello, in this Foreview, we're going to talk about large language models. Now, this is just an overview. We'll cover what they are, and just as importantly, what they are not. Our goal here is clarity, not to cover every single detail.
So if you've ever used a modern AI, you've probably had this experience. You ask it a question, and it really feels like it understands you, right? I mean, it answers your questions, it can explain complicated ideas, and it writes in these full, perfect sentences. So it's really easy to feel like it gets it. But is that actually what's going on?
Well, that feeling of understanding, it doesn't come from the whole AI system. It's actually the work of one very specific part inside of it.
And that component is what we call a large language model, or an LLM for short. It's a type of AI model that's built for just one thing, working with human language. This all fits into a bigger field of AI called natural language processing.
So just to be really clear here, the LLM isn't the entire system. It's a specialized part that lives inside a bigger AI, and it has one main job. And that job, well, it's not to understand meaning like we do. Its purpose is actually much simpler than that. It's just to continue language. Its whole goal is to predict which word is most likely to come next in a sentence. So how does it do that? Well, at a really high level, the process is pretty straightforward. First, it takes in some text, that's your question or your prompt. Then it analyzes that text for patterns, looking at its structure and its context. And based on all that, it just predicts the next word.
Okay, so let's quickly define structure and context. Structure is basically grammar. You know, how sentences are put together. If you start a sentence with, "First we need to," the model knows an action word is probably coming next. Context, on the other hand, is about the topic. So if the model sees the word check-in, it learns to connect it with travel, not necessarily a business meeting.
And this brings us to a really important limitation. The model is fantastic at working with words, structure, and context, but it has zero concept of human things like intent or beliefs or goals. It has no idea why you're asking it something.
Let's use a simple example to make this clearer. Imagine you give an AI this prompt.
So what does the LLM recognize here? It sees the patterns. It picks up on keywords like thank and work. It figures out the tone should be polite and positive. And it knows the usual structure for this kind of message because it's seen thousands of them before.
But what's just as important is what the model doesn't know. It has no idea who helped you. It doesn't know what they did. It doesn't even know if this really happened. It's just matching patterns to create an answer that looks right.
Now, this ability to match patterns is what gives LLMs some incredible strengths. They're amazing at generating fluent, natural-sounding text. They can summarize things for you, change their tone and style, and they can do it in a lot of different languages. But that very same ability also creates some really big limitations, and maybe the most important one is this. An LLM has no concept of what is true. Because its answers are all based on patterns, not real understanding, it can't reason about consequences, and it has no idea when it's wrong. That's why it's so helpful to think of an LLM as a language model and not a thinking system. It doesn't have opinions, it doesn't have self-awareness, it's not making conscious choices.
Really? It's a powerful tool, but a tool with a single purpose. You can think of it like an engine that's really good at processing and generating language, and that engine is just one part of the larger AI system. So if there's just one thing to take away from all this, let it be this. Large language models are the reason AI can work with our language, but they do it by predicting patterns, not by understanding meaning the way we do.
This has been a Foreview of large language models. It is meant to be a starting point for understanding this technology. Thank you.